Welcome, Impactful Parents. Today we're going to talk about how to keep your sex life alive after kids. So today I have special guest on Azaria Menezes. I want to make sure I say that right. And Azaria is a sex and relationship coach that supports women, moms, and couples to reignite that spark to their sexuality in the bedroom and then bust through any blocks that might be holding them back from experiencing an awesome relationship. So thank you so much for being on here today, Azaria.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. We get to talk about such a juicy topic.
Yes, it is. And it's one that a lot of people need to hear. So, my first question to you is how to keep the sex life alive when you're feeling exhausted? Because that is the number one complaint that I hear from most parents, especially moms. But by the end of the day, they are just too tired. So,
Yes,
what would you
Patrick.
say to that for a person who they're just too tired at the end of the day?
Yeah. And I mean, you know what? It's a real thing. I'm a mom. I'm also a sex coach. And on some days, I am still too tired to have sex. So let's just normalize being tired as a parent and not wanting to have sex is a thing. And also, there are so many ways to keep that spark alive in your bedroom. So if you're feeling too tired, or if you're feeling too stressed out at the end of the day, or if you're feeling like really touched out at the end of the day, maybe you have little kids, right? Find ways to eliminate those things that turn you off and find other ways to increase those things that really turn you on. So give you a quick example here. I cannot have sex when my room is really messy and there's baby stuff everywhere and everything is a mess. So I just really like to keep my bedroom very clean. I like to keep all the baby stuff out of the bedroom. And I love even to just bring in some flowers in the bedroom so that when I go in there, it's like a sanctuary. It gives you a little bit of energy, it wakes you up. And so look at things that really give you energy and make you feel a little less tired so you can approach sex with your partner.
I love that suggestion. I feel like a lot of parents make the mistake of letting their children invade the entire house. And
Absolutely.
yeah, we don't want to do that as parents. It actually is exhausting. You're allowing your child to have a lot of power over you when you let them do that because you want to keep that sacred space for yourself and you want to keep maybe a sacred space for your intimacy or your husband or your whoever your significant partner might be. And that's just as important as a lot of other facets in your life. So I love that suggestion, making that a priority. My
Absolutely.
next question to you is I know that a lot of partners just do not have the same drive. And that could be the next like real big roadblock that happens between couples where one's just a lot more into it than another, or maybe it's just like the different times, like it just doesn't sync, right? So, how would you help a couple like that?
Absolutely. So this is a really common thing, even with couples who don't have any kids, right? It's really actually hard to have your libido match up all the time and have it be the exact same all the time. So this is a very normal thing. So don't worry if it doesn't match up. Of course, when we add kids, there's just another factor, right? Like we add in time. Now we have no more time to have sex. Maybe there's just a shift in work schedules. Maybe you're just really exhausted, as we mentioned before. Maybe you're breastfeeding and it's like a hormonal thing, right? So there's a lot of factors that can contribute to mismatched libidos. And the thing that I usually recommend here is instead of thinking that you actually have to have, let's say, penetrative sex, right? Like take some time to really think about what is it that I do feel in the mood for. So instead of like, oh, honey, I'm not in the mood for sex, like, what is it that I would love to do and still be intimate with you and still feel connected? So maybe that's like a sensual massage. Like, see if you can find a middle ground on something that you would actually like to experience together. So it doesn't have to be penetrative sex. You can do so many other juicy things, right? Like sometimes it's just getting naked and doing like a hot, intimate kissing session together, right? And that is so connecting and so intimate. And often we forget that there's other options as well. And so this is where it gets really easy to get into the routine of disconnection and to get into the routine of not having sex because you're like, I don't really want to have sex. And so then you don't have any intimacy at all. And then you just go to bed, watch Netflix together, right? It's so easy to fall into that. So remembering that there are so many other options and there are so many other options to support your partner's pleasure and for your partner to support your pleasure in whatever capacity that feels really yummy and delicious for you. Intimacy is so, so, so important to keep alive, especially after having kids. So remembering that connection and intimacy is so, so important, even though you might not be having that much sex, but like intimacy kind of makes up sex. So really just focusing on what could give me pleasure right now and how can we be intimate together.
I love that you brought up that sometimes hormones could just throw things off. I know when I was breastfeeding all four of my children, every single time when the breastfeeding was happening, I just did not want anybody touching me. Like I had to be touched all day long. And eventually moms kind of get like touched out. Like
Yeah.
you've been touched out, especially when you're breastfeeding and your hormones are there. And I really then did not want to be active at all. But in general, as a parent, you can get touched out by the end of the day. And then, of course, your significant other walks in the door and they need that physical touch, maybe because it's their love language. And do you have any tips for somebody who's stuck like that, where I'm touched out, but you need it? And I know you do. Do you just suck it up?
Absolutely. So this is a really, really tricky thing. And this happens even to me all the time and so many of my clients, because it's like you don't want anybody even breathing in your space. So what's really important here is to just prioritize that time for yourself where you do get to spend some time with yourself, right? Prioritize your own self-care and just have like 5, 10, 15 minutes to yourself. Create one non-negotiable. So this is one thing that you do every day that is just for you. So for me, it's bath time. I don't want anybody touching me. I don't want anybody talking to me during bath time. Like, do not come in the door. Do not talk to me. So create one thing a day that is your non-negotiable where you really take that time for yourself. And usually it's really good to do these things in the evening before you connect with your partner, because then your tank is just a little bit filled up and you then have the capacity to actually connect with your partner as well. Because yes, being touched out after all day, it's a lot, right? And sometimes setting those boundaries with our kids can be really hard. So really just setting those self-care boundaries with ourselves and learning that sometimes it is okay to set a little bit of a boundary with your kid, and also ask your partner for help if you have one, right?
Mm-hmm. I think asking your partner for help is so hard sometimes for us parents. And it's just hard. It's hard to ask for help for anybody. But it is very, very important. So I'm glad you mentioned it. Now, after a really busy day, I know it's important to connect, but I'd like to give some tips to the audience about how can I connect with my partner at the end of a busy day like that when I'm just running out of ideas. What are some things that you can suggest?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a really, really great exercise that I give lots and lots and lots of my clients. I love doing it myself. And at the end of the day, this is a really good way to fill both of your cups. Do it after the kids are sleeping. It's only like maximum 10 minutes each. So we love those short, quick exercises. And this is just called What Can I Offer You? And so every each one of you gets 10 minutes and you just ask your partner, what can I offer you today that would make the day feel really complete and really yummy? So
And
maybe
they
for them,
have 10 minutes.
yeah, and they get 10 minutes.
Okay.
So maybe it's a yummy foot massage. Maybe they just want to share about their day and want you to be really, really present with them. Maybe they want you to rub their back, right? Like you can ask for whatever you want. And so then you offer that to them for 10 minutes. and then it is your turn. So they ask you, what can I offer you to make your day feel really complete? And then you get to share what you would like from them. And so this is a really beautiful way to just connect at the end of the day and for you to feel like, my partner is so with me right now. We're so present together. We're connected. Honestly, you only need like 15 minutes a day at the end of the day to do something to feel really connected and to do it intentionally, right? That makes all the difference. If you do this for 10 minutes and you spend all night together folding laundry or watching Netflix together or talking about the kids, right? You're going to get so much out of that 10 minutes than all the other hours you've spent before. So intentional connecting is super, super, super important. And yeah, this what can I offer you exercise is so, so easy. And it's nice. Like I get excited for my little back rubs at the end of the day.
I think I really like that it's 10 minutes. Like you put a time limit on
Yeah.
it. And of course, you can be flexible with those 10 minutes, but I feel like when you put a time limit on it, it does allow for someone who's already tired and frustrated and whatever, you could give your partner 10 minutes. Like you
Absolutely.
love them, you can give them 10 minutes. It makes it feel more manageable to me, and more willing to like, okay, yeah, 10 minutes, I could do that at
Right?
least for you. Like it just feels good. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that a lot of the times, a lot of us don't even ask ourselves what we need. We don't even take the time to just close our eyes and figure like, what does my body need tonight? Like, what do I actually need to slow down and to feel into my body and to connect with my partner? Like, we don't usually do that. We just rush through the day, rush through the evening, time to get to bed. I'm already tired. I have to wake up early in the morning. I have to feed throughout the night. I have to work early, right? All of these things we're so rushed. So just taking that 10 minutes to even ask yourself, what do I actually want and what do I need can be so, so, so nourishing.
And my last question to you is, how do you start these conversations? Because some couples, it's hard to get started with it. And other couples talk about it openly. But if you're a couple that doesn't really talk about it, how do you start talking about it with your partner when this is a brand new topic and it feels uncomfortable? You don't know how they're going to receive it. Do you have any suggestions for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I really recommend is creating an intentional space to actually talk about it. Because lots of times when we start conversations, we as humans love to do this. Either somebody's rushing out the door, we're kind of in the middle of a fight when we're just like trying to fan things a little bit more. We're like, oh yeah, and by the way, like, right? Or we're just talking about it when the kids are around and like we're already a little bit irritable. So, creating an intentional space for a conversation, creating a space when we're both feeling good and nourished, like maybe we've already showered, we've had dinner, right? All of these basic needs are all met on both sides to actually facilitate that conversation. Because a lot of the times it's just about like picking the right time, because so many times we just pick the wrong times to start conversations, and then sometimes it can feel more awkward or the other one gets upset, or and it doesn't even have to be connected to the conversation. So we want to eliminate that and just create a really beautiful intentional space, for both parties to really share their feelings around it and just really say like, I want to chat about this. You mean so much to me, and I care about our relationship so much, and I want to listen to your feelings around this, and I would love the opportunity to share my feelings around this.
Well, I know that there's plenty of parents out there that are resonating with what you're saying and would love to get more. So, how can they contact you if they need more of your help and advice and all this good stuff that you offer?
Yes, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram under Azaria.Menezes. There are tons of ways to work with me, and my website is www.azariamenezes.com. I also have a very juicy podcast for vulva owners to increase their pleasure in their relationships and their sex life. It's called Getting Intimate. Just come find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Parents, go find Azaria. She's amazing. And until next time, you got this, parents. We're just here to help.